Congress will vote today on a short-term budget extension to keep the government from shutting down tomorrow. The spending measure would keep the government running for 1 week while Congress negotiates a longer-term budget. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is with us from Capitol Hill ahead of that vote. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Nora.
Are you confident that the U.S. Congress will avoid a government shutdown?
Well, I surely hope so. It would be a disaster if the government shut down, and I hope we do our jobs and make sure it stays open.
Let me ask you about this interview that President Trump has given to Reuters, in which he warned that there's a possibility of a, quote, major conflict with North Korea. What did you think of that?
Well, I think the president also said that he wants to do everything that he can to avoid that conflict. When you're talking about a major conflict, what you're talking about is a nuclear war. Obviously, I think the goal now is to work as strongly as we can with China. China is, I think, receives about 80% of the exports from North Korea. They are in a position to tighten the screws on North Korea and tell them that they cannot continue their missile program or their nuclear program. But what concerns me right now, I have to tell you, sitting here in the Congress, is these incredible tax breaks that President Trump and the Republican leadership are proposing. It just seems to me that at a time of massive income and wealth inequality, the idea that we would give $353 billion in tax breaks to the top 0.2% while cutting back on education and health care and the needs of our children and seniors is, to me, totally absurd. And we've got to do everything we can to oppose that.
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. The New York Times says today Trump's plan shifts trillions to the wealthiest. It goes on to say that America's richest families and their heirs will benefit from this. Can that get through Congress?
Well, look, what you have now is a Republican leadership doing the business of the Koch brothers, the second wealthiest family in America, who spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year trying to elect Republicans. I think that at a time when the top 0.1% now owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%, when so many of our people are hurting, when the middle class is shrinking, the idea that you cut programs that people desperately need to give tax breaks to the billionaire class is totally insane.
Senator, you've said that before many times, even during the campaign. So what can you do about it in this Senate, in this Congress?
Well, we can rally the American people to say that when you had a president who campaigns on supposedly behalf of the working class of this country, that he's being totally hypocritical and dishonest. Giving tax breaks to billionaires is not standing up for the working class of this country.
Well, the latest poll shows, Senator, 96% of the people that voted for him still support him. Why do you think they're sticking with him?
Well, the latest poll also shows that he's the least popular president in American history at this point in his administration. I think it speaks to the fact that the Democratic Party has not been as strong as it should be in making it clear which side it is on. The fact that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a right. The fact that the middle class today has many millions of people are working longer hours for low wages. Democratic Party has got to get its act together, make it clear that it is on the side of working people, and expose Trump's hypocrisy.
You know, tomorrow's the 100th anniversary, the 100th day of his presidency. Is there anything he's done in the last 100 days that you can look at and say, Donald Trump, you done good?
Attaboy.
Well, I think there are some things, obviously, that he has done, but I think the gist, you know, he does a lot of things, but I think the gist of his 100 days, and what really bothers me the most, is not just his hypocrisy of telling working families, vote for me, I'm going to stand up for you, and then doing exactly the opposite after he is elected. That hypocrisy is, I think, what is disturbing to many people.
Could we just hear one thing that he's done well?
Well, I think he has talked at least about the need to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and put $1 trillion into it. That is, if he's going to follow through on that, that is a very important idea.
Something you could support legislatively.
If it is done in the right way, absolutely. We can create up to 15 million jobs for rebuilding our roads and bridges and water systems.
Senator, do you believe the president has taken us closer to war with North Korea?
This is a very complicated and difficult issue. North Korea is an isolated, dangerous country that has nuclear weapons, working on a missile system. The goal now is to bring the world together, especially China, to tell North Korea that economically they are not going to survive if they continue development of nuclear weapons and intercontinental missile efforts.
President Obama is going to speak at an event here in New York, a Wall Street investment bank, for $400,000 fee. You were critical of Hillary Clinton for taking money like that. What do you say about President Obama making an even larger fee?
Look, President Obama is a friend of mine. I think he, as president, represented our country with integrity and intelligence. But I think at a time when people are so frustrated with the power of Wall Street and the big money interests, I think it is unfortunate that President Obama is doing this. You know, right now you have President Trump's key economic advisor, as you know, is Gary Cohn, former president of Goldman Sachs, a firm that paid $5 billion in federal fines because of illegal behavior. Wall Street has incredible power, and I would have hoped that the president would not have given a speech like this.
Are you saying if you were offered $400,000 to give a speech, you would turn it down?
If Wall Street offered me that, yeah, I don't want Wall Street's money. No.
Even though it's
No,
transparent.
but I must tell you, I really don't have to worry about that too much. I haven't gotten too many invitations from Wall Street.
Oh, I bet there's some people out there who would be really
Never
interested in
say
hearing
never,
from you.
Senator. Yes. All right.
Let us know if the phone rings today.
I will, all right.
All right.
Senator Sanders, thank you so much for joining us.